case you missed it, it's the top 5 sports talkers of the day. Now, it's time for Dan Barreiro's Top 5 at 5. Brought to you by Gutter Helmet of Minnesota. Never clean your gutters again. Learn more at gutterhelmetmn.com.
All right, top 5 at 5 now. Kessler at the bottom of the hour. Blakemore in for JG, who we chatted with from Chicago and Big Ten Media Day a bit earlier. Where do we want to begin?
Where else? Football always wins. It's the A topic, and training camp has opened up around the country in the NFL, including your Minnesota Vikings. The major topic is the quarterback controversy. Kevin O'Connell said yesterday he wants both quarterbacks to feel like they've got a fair shot. Asked J.J. McCarthy if he heard from O'Connell in a private. This is Kevin Seifert tweet. He asked J.J. if he heard from O'Connell that with aligns with that statement, and he said 100% yes. So for all intents and purposes, from a public-facing standpoint, the QB competition is alive and well, whether we believe it or not. Also, other Vikings training camp bits. My fan base is just as guilty as the Vikings and everyone else in the NFL, but you see one touchdown in training camp, and it's all of a sudden we're going to the big game, like it's over. Pete Bursich tweeted after a Kyler Murray 60-yard touchdown at training camp, he said, "Are we already putting guys on ice because of one training camp touchdown from Kyler Murray?" So well underway over at TCO. Yeah, and apparently, according to Seifert, they are actually counting snaps, and that it was 50-50 until literally the very, very end. It sounded like Seifert thought that JJ threw a really good deep ball. Be prepared for it, because we're going to get that much specificity about plays that we're not ever going to remember in just a few weeks once it's determined who the starter is. But that's the real world in which we are in right now. Everybody's trying to predict a date by which a decision will be official and will be in the books. I think Chip Scoggins picked, we're going to have him on maybe later this week, the 14th of August, before some joint practice practices, sessions take place. So the interesting thing to me is going to be whether we are more likely to see either or both of these guys in the preseason. And I have to tell you that, especially in McCarthy's case, I think it's vital. I absolutely think we see a little bit more of him. I understand injuries. I understand the bit, and he's gotten hurt. But he needs reps. He needs to I think, clearly play. And I think it, might even help Kyler a little bit. He's the veteran guy. But a lot of questions will be played out in the next few weeks. I think it was a mistake to not play him in last year's preseason. Yeah. Other news and notes around the NFL. Pat Mahomes is back. He's got a knee brace on, but he is practicing. Your guy, Jonathan Grenard, he'll start on the PUP for Philly. Jamar Gibbs and Bijan Robinson are not practicing amid contract discussions with Detroit and Atlanta, respectively. Jamar Chase was involved in the first notable training camp fight of 2026, a little scuffle, and then injury problems at the quarterback position in Atlanta. Tua and Michael Penix are both not cleared for 11-on-11 drills. Wow. They're both dealing with stuff. And then I'm taking this, I'm reading off, my notes. There happens to be a note about Tucker Kraft. He'll be ready for week 1 in Minnesota. That's all you care about. Well, that is what I was looking at the most. I hunch that would be the way it would do. There's going to be endless fodder. I think our first day out at the Perch is on Monday. We do expect Kevin O'Connell to join us on that occasion. And this will be, every Vikings training camp is watched, and even for the minutia. But this will be more than most, because of whether it's an actual competition or not. There's indecision and doubt at the most important position in the field. And as a result of that, this will be as discussed, and there'll be as much speculation and curiosity about every single play, about which guy truly emerges. As I said, let's be clear about something. A tie goes to Kyler Murray. I think he'd have to fall flat on his face to not be the starter at the start of the regular season. Now, is there a scenario in which McCarthy looks so much better than he did a year ago, so much more sure of himself, that
he throws the whole thing into question? Yeah, I guess there is that possibility, but I'm still firmly of the belief that Murray would have to be hideous, would have to be awful, would have to fall on his face and get hurt to not be the guy who starts.
Real quick, I know it seems like forever ago, but there was at one point we were obsessed with the U.S. men's national team. While there is breaking news, at least on the horizon, according to The Athletic, Mauricio Pochettino and U.S. Soccer are close in the final stages on a deal that would keep him on board through the 2030 World Cup. So almost there to an extension. He's not going to go to Europe and go to some club team. It looks like he's on the way to staying as the head coach of your U.S. men's national
I certainly
team.
believe in continuity. I don't know what the precedent is in that respect. I think maybe there's programs where it's not as important to have the same coach. Here, as we're still trying to establish who the hell we are and who we want to be, I think it's more important. Now, the open question that we've got asked on this show is whether there's a danger that Pochettino, the way he is wired, is going to say yes, and then he's going to flirt with like 22 other jobs, and is that going to end up making this whole thing a destructive situation? I can't speak to that. I think if you get him committed, he's got to be committed, right? Yeah. It can't be every other time there's a job opening, he's flirting with it, or there's a possibility that he's going to leave. To me, you're showing your faith in him as a coach, but you have to have that reciprocated, and you really, because if you're constantly playing the game of wondering whether he's got one foot out the door, then there's not much point in locking him up, is there?
I mean, I just think the quality of coaching is so good that I am willing to take the distraction factor with the way that we played for 90% of that World Cup.
All right.
There you have it.
You got some bonus bucks?
I do. The Fan and BigDeck.com. I'm going to give you a shot to win those bonus bucks for the National Cash Contest. Head to KFAN.com, the keyword bonus. Keyword bonus, KFAN.com, keyword bonus.
Dramatic finish for your favorite baseball team last night. The Twins coming from behind late to win it. A declaration from the front office. Can we believe the declaration? What exactly does it really mean? And where do the Twins go from here? We'll spend some time on that as we prepare for Kessler at the bottom of the hour.
Get ready. Vikings football is back. You can find our Mall of America Street team at Vikings training camp each day starting this Saturday. To enter for awesome prizes, including Mall of America mystery cards and much, much more. All the details, KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
A little drama last night at Target Field. That's undeniable. We're still not sure what's at stake, but they are where they are. And indeed, it was a late two-run triple in the bottom of the ninth inning from Royce Lewis that led to a 3-2 come-from-behind victory for the Twins over the Royals. The Twins had hit into 5 double plays in this game. And they get it done in dramatic fashion. So they're back to 500 at 54 and 54. And before the game, for whatever this is worth, the general manager of the club went on record saying, "We are going to use this next week to do everything we can to find ways to improve the club, continue to execute on that goal, and make it a reality. We're going to focus on finding ways to improve the bullpen. And that will be a clear focus." I don't believe at this point they have much choice. I've said about 2 weeks ago that the Twins have backed themselves into a corner that largely takes away their opportunity under better circumstances to make baseball decisions each year about, well, are we kidding ourselves about how good we are? If we get an offer we can't refuse for a couple of our players, do we go ahead and do it? Because over a period of years, we have tended to be aggressive when we needed to and gone in more of a sell mode when that made more sense. But when you've done it the way the Twins have consistently, especially coming off of decimating the bullpen a year ago, I don't think you can't give yourself as an organization the grace to make what might be classified as baseball decisions. If you turn and run this year, I was about to say you're going to lose the fans forever, but
to a certain extent, maybe they're already lost, but you're certainly going to have no chance of getting them back. So to that extent, they can't really sell. Now, the words sound good, but once again, words are going to be meaningless here. The Twins may indeed add to their bullpen, but at what level, right? Is it going to be another couple journeyman pitchers that are okay but don't cost much and they might help a little, might hurt a little? Or are there going to be moves viewed even by ball guys as, that's a big move. That's a bigger move. That's a cut above what you've already done to improve your pen. We're not going to know until we know. So the words might be welcome as opposed to the, no, we don't know what we're going to do, or we're not going to tell you what we're going to do. It sounds positive, but in the end, it's what you do. It's your actions in this case, especially with this organization, that says pretty much all that you need to know. I'm not holding my breath for anything significant. I think it would be disastrous to trade Joe Ryan. Disastrous. Again, because of the position you are in and because you've shattered whatever credibility you once had regarding making what would be classified as fair baseball decisions. If you move, even if you think of you want to trade Ryan eventually, you don't have to trade him now. And if you trade him now, you are in effect conceding that you're not really serious about, maybe, squeezing into the playoffs. And let's just see, chip chair and a chance, let's give it a shot. You're not. Sorry, you're just not. And the irony always with this is we have so little, our standards are so low on this team that we don't even think among the possibilities might be, wait for it, extending Joe Ryan's contract. I mean, that's beyond the realm of even our imaginations, right? Because you can make the argument that if you are really going to try to change some things here, he's not ancient. He's a good pitcher. He's going to cost you a little bit, but all pitchers that are dependable are going to. And you put him, let's say, starting next year in a rotation that's allegedly going to be healthier again with the good pieces that we have, one could say right now, including Taj Bradley. And you say, that's not a bad place to start. So that's sadly, again, beyond our imagination. The choices seem to be hang on to Ryan for a while, see where it goes, and then maybe trade him in the offseason. Or just assume you're going to have to move on from him eventually. The third option of we're going to extend him. Not only we're not going to trade him, we're going to keep him. It's a gobsmacking proposition, the way we unfortunately have done business here. So we'll see where all that goes. Also, it is worth noting that let me see if I can find the release. Your guy Buxton is back on the injured list, 10-day injured list with what's described as right hip impingement. Right hip impingement. He was reinstated from the injured list July 20 after missing 9 games. He's played 82 of the club's 108 games this season. So looks like Tristan Gray has been recalled to the roster, but Buck is on the 10-day injured list yet again. Do you think Shelton's a legit manager of the year candidate considering what happened last year? I don't know. I mean, I guess yes. Manager of the year awards, it feels like the game is played pretty simply. If your team's not supposed to go anywhere and then you're better than that, then what's different? Well, the manager. And I'm not here to tell you he hasn't done a good job. I'm still not here to tell you that I thought Rocco did as bad a job as some people want to believe. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure he would be, when you factor in all the, realities here and all the negatives of what he inherited,
and the injuries, I'm certain that he would be in the mix. He seems to be wearing well here, too. He is. It appears that even though he and Rocco share a lot of things, they're different in a lot of ways, I think, from a personality standpoint. And what Gleeman had told us last time he was here is he's almost one of these guys who, if there's any accusation to him, it's like he over-communicates to the point of, okay, I get it. You don't have to talk to me about it anymore. But that's the approach he's decided to take with this team, and perhaps it's done. It is, kind of worked wonders. Come on, Danny. Remember 87. Let's just go with it being positive. I'm annoyed with ownership too, but for now it's baseball season. 612 guy, what you're leaving out of this conveniently is the following. I can't tell you how many times over the years, at, for example, the All-Star break or trade deadline, I've looked at the Twins and I've said, they're not great, but if you enhanced them in a couple spots and helped out, who knows where this might go? Under the old guise of chip chair, as in get into the tournament. You're not going to go in as the best team, but see what happens. You can get, who knows, you can get on a roll. And one of the ball guys almost incessantly told me, stop kidding yourself. To pretend that any one or two moves is going to make you competitive with the teams that matter is foolhardy. That's what I've been told over and over and over. So I would say to 612 guy, you're wrong. You're mad at the wrong person. I have historically been more of the one to say, we know you're not going to match the best teams from a payroll standpoint and even from a quality standpoint. But baseball being a funny game, do you still, within the limitations you face, take your shot at something? Maybe the guy you get or the two you get galvanize you a little bit. Maybe you get more than you ever think that you could. But the message generally conveyed here is, and it's easy for the Twins to play to this, and actually it almost enables them to do less with less than taking any other approaches. Who are we kidding? We're not really. I mean, did you see the payroll disparity? Why are we even bothering? What's the point? And it's just so amusing to me because now we're getting more of that feeling of, well, you know who you are. You know you're not great, but maybe you add a little bit here and you get on a little bit of a roll and you happen to, maybe you don't win the World Series, but maybe you make a little bit of run. And maybe more importantly than that, you have people paying a little more attention to you, taking you a little bit more seriously as an organization that needs that more than anything else. So that to me is part of why it was indefensible what the team did a year ago, even though the struggles already were apparent. Indefensible what the team did a year ago. And that's what I find so funny about now. It's like, hey, let's be a little bit more positive about the situation. Even if we're not a great team, we're plucky. Maybe you get a little help, and maybe you're even better, and you surprise yourself at what you can do. Yeah, you're preaching to the choir on that. Part of the reason I've kind of given up on that mantra is we seem so far removed from it, and the team itself has been much more interested in agreeing in a sense with the ball guys. As in, why should we bother? Let's not pretend we're any good. And guess what happens? It becomes self-fulfilling. If each year you say to yourself, it's not really worth us being ambitious, then you are going to continue to sort of be that same operation, right? With very little margin for error. The only way you eventually get out of it is you take a couple of risks. And they may pay off. They may explode in your face. But that's, I think, the more likely way to go. So I'm interested not in just whether they make moves. I'm interested in how big they are, how ambitious they are, how potentially expensive they might be. But to me, if you make the decision to trade Joe Ryan, you're back to the exact same place. You are not to be taken seriously, or you're to be taken even less seriously than you are now as an organization, which is too bad given the on-field product has been better than what folks might have thought it was going to be. But you can't convey a worse message of, again, what we can't do
more than what we can do if you move on Joe Ryan. The comeback to that's going to be, we got an offer we can't refuse. But even that, I think, is often an excuse to just let yourself off the hook. And believe me, it takes a lot of the pressure away if you're not really ever competing for anything, or you're waiting for the lockout, and you're waiting for all the financial parameters to change dramatically. So we'll see where it goes from here. It was a nice comeback, and now we're on the clock to see exactly. You got the GM saying we're going to do stuff. What does doing stuff mean? Because doing stuff here often doesn't mean as much as it might other places. They only have themselves to blame. The bar is very, very low here. We'll see if they can surprise us. Maybe one of these years, in fact, they will. Let's come back and chat with Kessie, Special K, Pat Kessler. There's a lot to get to with him. 64686. That's the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. He is next.
Congress and find out, are they pro-America or anti-America?
You endorse throwing wieners.
Whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
I can't trust Obama. He's an Arab.
You just made that up.
Down this wall.
I did nothing wrong. You have no idea where my hands have been.
Kennedy.
Pat Kessler.
And now, to help Dan break down all the tough questions in politics, it's our own
Pat Kessler.
Political Walk.
I feel like a supermodel, except like times 10.
Sure, why not?
It's Channel 4's
Pat Kessler.
with Dan Barreiro on the Fan.
Why not? Kessler is back in on what you're big on nicknames. You're big on theming a particular show or a particular day.
Yes, I am.
What do you have in mind today?
Well, today is Wiener Wednesday. What?
Why would that be?
Am I wrong?
Why would that be?
Well, you know, we got to walk a really fine line here. Do you endorse throwing wieners?
And it's hard to walk that fine line when sound bites like that are going to be headed your way.
Well,
because you have uttered them
for many, many, many years.
Yeah, this goes back decades.
That has been the theme of the show. It's all about the wiener.
Do you remember the origin of that soundbite?
I actually do. This is back in the Twins days, Calvin Griffith, when he owned the Twins. And back in those days at the old Met Stadium, the halcyon days of the Minnesota Twins.
Yes.
Fantastic to go to the games there. But Calvin and the Minnesota Twins made a large portion of their money from concession sales. Concession sales, so beer, root beer, and wieners. And so Calvin Griffith famously said, it's all about the wiener. And
it's all about the wiener.
There it is. I wonder how old this, but
that's got to be 20 years
probably
old.
Probably at least, 15, I was going to say.
And so that was one of the things about this. That's where you could make a little bit of money. Nowadays, $13 beers and that kind of stuff. But so that's where that began. But our listeners may or may not know that
they need some background here, and you're going to provide it on context, as we should say.
Absolutely.
In fact, well, to that end, there's now the city of St. Paul apparently has hired an outside law firm to investigate a series of sexual harassment allegations against the mayor, correct? And
that is correct.
You're going to give us many of the tentacles of what some of the accusations are. I want to play a soundbite from intrepid KARE 11 investigative reporter Lou Ragoose, who I think is offering allegations that I've not read or heard about elsewhere that he says
news, for sure,
are related to sources that he is confident in. Mm-hmm. Do you have that soundbite ready to go, Brett Blakemore? Let's listen. This is Ragoose via his ex earlier today.
St. Paul Mayor Colliher allegedly commented on the breasts of a female deputy chief with the St. Paul Police Department while they were in a locker room together, then asked that employee her opinion of the mayor's own breasts. These new details I've confirmed with rock-solid sources with knowledge of the sexual harassment investigation currently underway against Mayor Herr. In the deputy chief's complaint, she said that the comments were unwanted and played a role in her leaving the St. Paul Police Department. The investigation was initiated by a complaint by St. Paul Police Chief Axel Henry, who says he himself was a victim of sexual harassment by Mayor Herr after he learned of other officers who say they were targeted as well. An additional alleged victim is an officer who received this text message from Mayor Herr. It says, "Happy Wiener Wednesday. Wish I was having hot dog emoji with all on 6 today." Then there's a meme that says, "When she wraps you up in a blanket after a good wienering." Wienering is slang for sex. And on the unredacted photo, which I have personally seen, Mayor Herr photoshopped the face of the officer she sent this to onto the meme. Additional context is that they would often have hot dogs for lunch on Wednesdays and call it Wiener Wednesday. I've left several messages with the mayor and her spokesperson for comment on these latest details that I've confirmed, but they have not responded. If they do, I will add their response in the comments. I've also confirmed that the sexual harassment investigation being done by an outside firm was supposed to be finished by the end of July. This story is developing, so be sure to check back right here for more. I'm Lou Raguse. Follow for more news.
Okay, here's Lou Raguse. I mean, all buttoned down, looks like Dan frickin' Rather on there, the anchor man delivering the news. And listen to what he said. Now, Dan,
where do we begin with this?
I mean,
I guess we've already begun.
St. Paul is supposed to be boring. That's number one. Wow. And listen to this. Now, you know, you got to walk a fine line here because, you know, it's easy, especially for me. I mean, it's funny stuff when you talk about Wiener Wednesdays and the wienering. Had you ever heard that before, by the way?
No,
you're all hip to this.
No, I had never heard the expression the way Lou laid it out. Wienering is synonymous with
I have no
sex.
idea.
No,
that's so. But I'm 83, so
I'm not much. Younger.
So it sounds, you know, you can laugh at all this, but this is really serious stuff, and you cannot tolerate sexual harassment. And if this is true, this is crazy stuff. Now, it's been being investigated by an outside law firm, and this investigation has been going on for several months. And the chief of police of St. Paul was also a victim as
Axel Henry.
Axel Henry, yes, as Lou revealed. But he named himself, according to Chris Maddle, our guy, friend of the show, who is representing Chief Henry. He named himself to protect others because it sounds like, according to the letters that Maddle has sent, the mayor's conduct extended beyond isolated incidents. And the Star Tribune is reporting it's included sexual harassment of subordinate city employees, including members of the police department. So this is really unusual behavior. And think about this. It was just a couple of months ago that the chief of police in Minneapolis resigned abruptly, suddenly, when he was accused of sexual hostile environment. But this comes out of nowhere. And so now Wiener Wednesday is the big deal. How many restaurants and bars are going to have Wiener Wednesdays now? If they don't already, maybe they do. So I guess it's a team-building thing in St. Paul. What do I know?
In the letter, Maddle, who, by the way, by coincidence, because this was scheduled before this story broke, is going to be in studio with us at the start, actually 3 o'clock hour tomorrow. And I don't know how much detail he's going to get into because he's claiming via stories. He's said a few things, but I'm not going any further. In the letter, Maddle claims that the city is on notice that the mayor has engaged in illegal conduct towards city employees, and that he is demanding that the city, quote, immediately take all steps necessary to perform a full file system extraction of each of the mayor's mobile phones. Now, when you're talking,
that's big right there. That is big.
So explain to me that when someone has been, she's in an elected office, right, mayor. In fact, she upset the incumbent.
Mayor Carter. That's Mayor correct. Carter. Melvin Carter.
So let's play this thing. I don't want to say automatically guilty. Everybody deserves their day in court, public opinion, whatever. And I don't know. By the way, has anybody on her behalf given any kind of public statement to our knowledge?
There is no comment from the city of St. Paul.
Okay.
Other than to say there's an investigation underway. So
and she's not
nobody defending her.
Okay.
And go ahead if you want.
No, what I was going to say.
Respond.
Okay, what I was going to say is elected office. There's that question of, does it reach a point where others start demanding a resignation? Is it you resign? When you're in an elected position, this notion is she can't be, or is there a mechanism by which she could potentially, if this thing plays out and mushrooms, be removed from office? How does that work?
That's very difficult, and I honestly don't know the way it is in the city of St. Paul. And it's very difficult to impeach a public official in Minnesota because, as we have said numerous times on this show, someone who is elected by voters that is a sacred position. That is something that is very, very important. That is the voters' will. She can be voted out after her term expires in 4 years, but that might not be soon enough. Now, it's worth noting here that the Star Tribune is reporting that this is not the first time that the mayor has dealt with allegations about her behavior. And there was a petition for a restraining order filed against her in Ramsey County District Court by a former friend who made similar allegations. So, again, we don't know what the reality is of this right now, but it never is coming at a good time. This is coming at a terrible time for someone who was just elected to office and needs the trust of everyone, including the chief of police and the police department. That goes to the heart of who the city is, the people who protect and serve the residents of the city of St. Paul. So I really would like to know what is going on here. When you see some of this, and if Chris Mattel, the attorney representing Chief Henry, is requesting her phones and extract other devices to extract information, who knows what is on there? So you're getting into really dangerous territory. But as I say, on the one hand, this is really, really serious stuff.
Yeah.
And on the other, it's like, what? Wiener Wednesday?
Yeah.
Wiener Wednesday. I mean, how many times did you sing the Wiener song at a Twins game?
Endlessly. Yeah.
All the time.
It's alliterative. People love doing it.
You may be a wiener winner. Come on.
And there's, I guess some, in the grander scheme, double entendre allowed within casual reason. Mm-hmm. The problem is, in this case, is it's more targeted to specific individuals and used in a way, at least according to the allegations, in which there's much more problematic intent. Correct?
Yeah, what we've heard so far from Attorney Mattel's letter and in the complaint goes far beyond just
comedy.
A funny joke.
Wacky.
Come on, let's have a Wiener Wednesday. That's not what this is. This sounds like it's very personalized and very directed with sexual innuendo.
Have any, what the Jackals tend to do at a time like this, even this early, is, okay, we're going to scramble and talk to other, in this case, DFLers. Okay, tell me, reaction. What do you think? Has anybody in position of authority elsewhere come forward yet, or what kind of reaction have we received?
I have not heard any of that yet, which also is something of a comment in itself. Who are the people who are standing up for Mayor Herr and saying that this is absolutely not possible? Not that matters, seriously.
Right.
Not that matters, because the mayor of St. Paul will determine and provide evidence to defend herself against these if she says these allegations are untrue. And we are not saying here that they're true or not true. These are just way out there allegations that are the last thing you are going to expect out of the city of St. Paul.
All right, I'm trying to grab here on the fly. See if I can find it. I thought I had it. Hold on a second. I think we may have a little bit more reaction from the mayor. I just have to get to the
that's good. Yeah, so I have not seen any of that.
Account via, let's see if we have it here. Let me scroll down. Oh, yes, this is from Frederick Mello, St. Paul.
Oh, yeah.
Printer Press. You're familiar with the name? Yes. Here's a statement, as he's quoting it. As mayor, I take my responsibility to treat every employee with professionalism and respect very seriously. I recognize that some of my attempts at humor fell short of the standard I expect of myself. We have fully cooperated with the independent investigation since it began in April and will continue to do so. I respect the investigative process and believe it is important to allow it to reach its conclusion. I remain confident that the full facts will come to light, and I will continue to focus on serving the people of St. Paul with integrity and dedication.
Okay, yes. Okay, now I'm seeing this. It came out about 30 minutes ago, so this is right up to date. And she is saying that these are her attempts at humor, which fell short of the standard I expect of myself. Now, if what Lou Raguse is reporting is accurate, and I believe he is getting these facts that he's reporting from what he called rock-solid sources, this goes beyond, I think, attempts at humor. And again, I mean, all of us are in the workplace, and, there's all sorts of different kinds of humor. But when it crosses a line, or when employees feel like it, staffers feel like it crosses a line, and in this case of a police sergeant who felt like she had to leave the police department, that's beyond weak attempts at humor.
And what are the specific concerns as expressed where the police chief has been on the other end of this harassment?
We don't know.
What do we have there?
We don't know, other than initially it was reported that he was stepping forward to file the complaint
on behalf
to protect his team.
Gotcha.
However, the attorney Maddle is asserting that he was also the target of some unwanted attention. So, there's much more to be revealed here, and Mayor Herr has a right, of course, to defend herself,
right,
as the alleged victims of this have a right to press their case.
So stay tuned on that. There'll be probably more to come in the remaining minutes. This segment, let's get to you on your list. There's a bunch of stuff that is all pretty worthy of our consideration, but the item that I wanted to get to next is directly related to I'm trying to get your exact sheet because I like the way that you laid it out. The Senate race on the DFL side, can you predict right now, are we on a trajectory that indicates how far off is the primary? 3 weeks?
August 11th, so
okay. Yeah, or even less than that.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So I guess there's not that much time left. But is this one shaping up down the stretch here to be one of the ugliest, so to speak, within one party?
I have not seen this kind of vitriol and this kind of personal attack pretty much anywhere in the state of Minnesota, Republican or Democrat, in many, many, many years. What we've got in the DFL side is the U.S. Senate primary race between Peggy Flanagan, the lieutenant governor, and Angie Craig, the 2nd District Congresswoman. And it is thought to be a dead heat. The KSTP Survey USA poll a couple of weeks ago showed them both at about 40%, with a waning number of voters undecided. And it's gotten to be fairly
contentious,
fairly contentious, to the point where there was a debate on Minnesota Public Radio a couple of days ago, which was actually quite entertaining. It was great questions. It was actually very informative. You don't expect the candidates to answer as informatively as they did. And it just had the right dose, in my view, of a little bit of nastiness, too. But what came out was Angie Craig going after pretty heavily Peggy Flanagan, the lieutenant governor, who has been lieutenant governor, P.S., for the last 8 years, during the time when all of the very controversial fraud was being committed in the state of Minnesota under Governor Walz. And so many people in Craig's camp and critics of Flanagan are saying, well, what responsibility do you have for anything that happened? And she's like, What? What fraud? Who? Walz? She's distanced herself from it as if she had no part in it. Well, here's what happened in the debate. Angie Craig said the lieutenant governor, even as we sit here today, says Craig, and I'm quoting her, continues to take no accountability for any of the fraud issues and continues to blame Governor Walz, her governor. And then she says, and I'm going to be honest, it's pissing me off. So this is something, this is the kind of stuff I haven't seen in a long time. There's more than $20 million in television ads that all of us have seen, which are getting more and more and more personal. So this is something we don't often see, and I don't know how this race is going to go, is going to play out. On the Flanagan side, John Hoffman, the victim, he and his family, of terrible, terrible shootings, the day that Melissa Hortman and her husband were assassinated, murdered. He is asserting in a campaign speech a few days ago that Angie Craig solicited his endorsement for office while he was in the ICU recovering from surgery, a charge that Angie Craig adamantly denies and says that an emissary went to him, says Hoffman, and the emissary was David Wellstone, the son of Paul Wellstone, and he denies it too. Who would do such a thing that is so cold? So, I don't know. This is where the race is right now. Having said all that, in the Minnesota Public Radio debate, both of them, Craig and Flanagan, said they pledged to support the other because it's more important to defeat Trump and the MAGA Republicans than it is to fight.
Look, I don't know how big the Hoffman story is going to be down the stretch here, but and I don't even know how you get to the truth of it, because Hoffman's conveyed that these were the conversations. Now, as I understand it, I'm looking at an NBC News story, text messages the Craig campaign provided NBC News. Craig expresses well wishes for the Hoffmans on June 14, the day of the shooting. She later sends an Aug 5 message saying she would love to talk with you about the open Senate race when you're up to it. Now, do we know how far Hoffman's going to go with this? In other words, has he yet provided, might he attempt to provide, okay, you don't believe me? Here's the text. Now, if it's just a conversation you're having, obviously that gets a little bit more problematic.
Well, I don't have it right in front of me, but yes, John Hoffman's wife, Yvette, has released publicly some of the texts they said they received. But according to Craig, these are texts that were exchanged after he was out of ICU.
Okay.
And while, according to Craig, he was beginning to endorse other candidates. Now, you got to be pretty tone deaf if you are actually, in fact, seeking an endorsement for somebody who's in ICU. I mean, and so that's what the Craig people say. It's implausible. It's very, very hard to believe. But this is his story, and he's sticking to it. And who knows how far down the road this will go. But that's something that could have some tails after some resentment, some bitterness. After the endorsement, after the nomination primary battle is over on August 12th.
Hoffman added in his statement that he acknowledged Craig sent a message expressing sympathy, but he said his campaign remarks were in reference to subsequent endorsement requests and the painful impression those requests left on our family while we were trying to survive and recover. It is dishonest to give condolences and then immediately ask for endorsement, like her text showed.
And I think that's fair. I think that's absolutely fair.
But does the text show that? I don't know.
The text may not show that, but
that's
what did the Hoffman family feel?
Right.
And it's not just John. It's Yvette, and it's their daughter, Hope. So you know that they're in an extremely vulnerable place, and this is a very delicate thing. And they send an emissary in person, David Wellstone, and that is somebody who, again, went to express condolences and, according to them, later was trying to see if there could be an endorsement. Yeah. Now, remember, these endorsements are generally don't matter. In this case, I think it does, not because of what happened with the text, but because John Hoffman is someone who stands up for all sorts of things and represents so much with the Melissa Hortman and that terrible, terrible night a year ago.
All right, let's make this a top-of-the-hour pause. More with Special K, maybe some text as well. 64686 is the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. We will ask Special K some very uncomfortable questions that he might feel are a little bit intrusive.
Oh, my goodness.
But are related directly to a subject explored earlier on today's show.
Oh, boy.
That has split wide open one part of our sports community. So we'll get to all of that and much more. I don't think I can build up a tease any more than that. So I better pay off on it.
You're listening to Barreiro on the Fan.
From the 1-800.
Chance to score a Mall of America Summer Mystery Prize is back. You can grab one at any of our KFAN events or anytime you see the KFAN street team out and about, then redeem it at Mall of America for discounts and exciting prizes. Check out the upcoming events, KFAN.com, keyword calendar, KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
I'm going to be honest, it's pissing me off.
Jeez.
Oh, come on.
Pat, it's just some mystery packs.
I am quoting
out of context, and you were quoting somebody else there.
I am quoting a respected member
That's about as deceptive.
Of the United States Congress.
Yeah, that's deceptive.
Wow,
that's deception in action right there.
Wow.
All right, everything's polarizing in 2026,
Boy,
including this. There is now a split that is, I think, a schism within the, in this case, football community, although, because that's where it started, it could be wider than that. And the allegation, it all started with the notion laid out by a former National Football League journeyman quarterback, Dan Orlovsky, who's now has turned into a very good analyst for ESPN. Okay?
Okay.
Orlovsky.
Go on.
Orlovsky said, and I don't remember what brought this subject to the table, but Orlovsky flat out says that football players should not get pedicures. The notion being that there's something, I don't know,
effeminate,
soft, or about the concept.
Really?
Others, including bumper to bumper regular Sean Salisbury, says, not so fast, my friend. If we as men demand good feet from our women, shouldn't women have every right to expect the same from us? We don't need to have wolf toes. That is the way he put it. So it's becoming this massive debate about whether it's cool or okay if you're a man to get a pedicure. So let's cut to the chase. Has Pat Kessler ever received a pedicure?
This is very personal.
It is. You don't have to answer.
Have you ever heard of HIPAA?
I have, actually. Yeah, you're not obligated to answer.
It's just my nail fashion lady who has to exercise caution. Well, here's the deal. So you're really asking me this?
I am asking you this. I'm very curious.
Very embarrassing.
Well,
what would you think?
My guess is no. I don't think I've ever had. Well, I know I haven't had one. However, I wouldn't. I don't.
Okay,
have,
your guess is
it's not like it's not like I go.
You can't hedge now.
Do it. I can't do it. No,
sure.
I haven't done it, and part of it for me is a weird feeling of I don't want to subject my toes to anybody. No one should have to suffer. Now, I'm not saying mine are hideous.
All you do is give.
But what I'm saying is there's a part of me that goes, oh, no, just leave them alone. No, you don't have to do that. Even though I'm paying, it's just not right. Go take care of somebody else's toes.
Now it can be revealed that, yes, I am with Sean Salisbury on this.
Okay.
And I'm late to the game. Now, apparently you're later than I am.
I'm
to
later,
the game.
but I'm not
offended
by it at all.
I'm going to say I started doing this probably 6-7 years ago. I was having, I just thought,
Sure.
I'm not doing this right.
Right,
Something is not right here. And my feet are so...
Have they become very soft?
Okay, here's where
You're
I am.
You're afraid
now.
of a soundbite.
I am. I am.
Look at Blakemore.
With Blake.
He's waiting.
With Blakemore. And I was going to say something, but now I'm not. Because I know that this will be used against me. But here's the deal. So, yes, I I have had pedicures, many now.
Okay, now it's
over the last 5 say it's all regular. And my question is,
do you find them enjoyable?
Why wouldn't you?
Yes.
Well, here's a little twist. Not necessarily, because my feet get tickled and and sometimes it hurts.
Right.
But when it's done, I mean, I'm trying to AI slop this soundbite so that Blake doesn't get.
He's going to turn it into something regardless. That's the sad part.
All right. Well, anyway, so I have to serve our listeners, not Brett Blakemore.
Yes.
Correct?
If I don't get it, Hawk will.
So here's the thing. So I think it is something that's very great for hygiene, male hygiene.
That's been brought up by a couple people. Said there's a health issue to this that should not be underestimated.
I know some older folks who actually go to the doctor to have their nails clipped. And I said to I said, really? He said, yeah, we schedule an appointment and insurance pays for it.
Really?
Yes. So it's one of these things that
because they can't reach. I mean, it's like the deal of where their bodies aren't limber enough anymore to get there.
I guess.
Okay.
That's part of it for sure.
Okay.
But no, I do think it's really good, and I endorse it and I recommend it highly. I think it's a great thing for men to do. And here's the thing: my gal and I will go together and have
I've heard that's
right
a
next
thing.
to each other,
Yes.
and we do it. And sometimes we just talk and have a glass of champagne. And
now, do they do the place you go to? Because I think most of these places, they'll do a little bit of a calf massage as they're doing it. That's all part of the bit.
Yeah,
okay,
I have a place. I got a lady.
Got to be relaxing.
She is just incredible.
Okay,
I'm ready to offer an endorsement. So this is great. And the first time I went, I didn't understand what they were doing, and so they did paint my toenails.
Even though you hadn't asked them?
Well, I think I said yes, but I didn't understand that this was a long time ago, and it was with the clear thing. And I said, whoa, what are you doing? But
Shaq O'Neal paints his toenails different colors.
So now, seriously, I've now been thinking, should I get a pedicure?
Yeah.
Should I get a mani and pedi together?
A lot of people do.
So I came to this late in life. I endorse it. I think that makes me more of a man, not less.
Okay, that's fair enough.
How's that?
Well, the interesting thing about Salisbury is he's, on the other hand, bitter with I think it's a Patriots receiver who was talking about how he likes to go into restaurants in bare feet.
Oh, my God.
And Salisbury said, no, that's not cool. Don't do that.
Absolutely not.
And I agree with that, too. I don't think, there's limits to this bare feet thing. You should not be able to go into, just because you're more comfortable that way. It's like when we talk about on airplanes. You don't get to put your bare feet up on the carpet in front of the bulkhead seat in front of you. Or not seat, but the actual bulkhead.
I understand.
You know what I'm talking about? We don't need that.
Yeah, you don't. But now, because my feet are beautiful,
then you're more willing to show them.
Yes. And so does that now allow me, do I get a judgment call that, yes, I can take off my shoes and my socks?
Let's keep that private.
All right, yeah. So I agree
keep that very private.
I agree. I mean, that's ridiculous. And to walk into a restaurant, even in open-toed sandals, and you've got wolf toes.
That's legal.
You got the
wolf toes is not good, yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, I don't. I
say nay.
That's
and
concerning.
then when it comes to that, I say yay.
Yeah, okay. I'm not surprised, actually. We have 1 minute left, which is probably not enough time to get to
my toes.
How do we characterize the Fauci hearing yesterday?
Oh, my God.
It seemed like it was all performance, pretty much.
I had a hard time watching it. And Fauci...
Cringeworthy, you'd say?
I would say it was after a while. Anthony Fauci pleaded the Fifth Amendment at a fiery congressional hearing today. He took the Fifth Amendment 106 times.
Does that mean, did he ever answer any...
Did not answer a question. They got to a point where they were asking him, the Republicans were trying to embarrass him,
the floor color,
humiliate,
things like that.
What color is your tie?
Or what color is your toenails?
What if they were pink? Or kind of a...
Not that there's anything wrong with
There's nothing wrong with
it.
So over the last few days, the Republicans have discovered a personal journal on government servers. So it's his diary, Dear Diary, here's how I feel. Barbara Streisand called me today. They were trying to embarrass him and try to get him to admit that he's been lying about COVID for years. So this conspiracy theory has been going on for many, many years, encouraged and fanned the flames by President Trump and the MAGA health movement, saying that vaccines are not safe. And we have to remember that President Trump is the one, and I give him 1,000% credit, to develop the COVID vaccine.
Operation, what was it called?
Warp Speed.
Warp Speed, yeah.
He should have been, or if he had stuck with it, he should have had a Nobel Prize. He awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom before he left office to Anthony Fauci. So we are now in...
Well, he also got a similar honor. I think he's been decorated by W. I think W decorated him for something else.
So he's got a lifetime of service.
And by the way, I don't know where you are. I don't think he is as...
I know what you're going to say.
Angelic as...
I agree.
There's questions that are worth asking, which I have no problem with, but not prison.
Can we ask a question in a neutral environment where we can actually learn something
about the process,
about what we did right and what we did wrong?
You're asking for a lot
as we went.
Exactly, and you're asking for a lot. You know that.
Yeah, and I just think it was a humiliating performance. Yeah, it was
complete. All right, we're going to let you go to your next toe appointment.
Thank you.
Later tonight.
Cannot wait.
Boy, oh boy. Do they wear gloves at least? I feel bad that they got to touch your feet.
So, and get the massage, the whole deal.
The whole deal.
So, will you come with me?
No, I don't think so, but I'll consider it. Maybe if you get a 2-for-1 deal.
You didn't even have to. No.
Maybe not.
Don't think I will.
Thank you.
All right, man.
Pat Kessler reconsidering his retirement. Those are the rumors right now, but no confirmation yet. I'm sure we will be the first to know.
Bumper to bumper.
It's the Bumper to Bumper Show Wrap.
Brought to you by American Pressure.
I want to thank our outstanding array of guests today. Kevin Seifert filed a live report from Vikings training camp at about, I think, 4:20 or so. Kessler just wrapped up a very eventful discussion on a number of controversial subjects. Guardsy gave us some time in Chicago. He is wrapping up Big Ten Media Day Gophers edition. So we talked a lot of Gopher football. And actually, we ended up talking some WNBA, too. He's scheduled to be returned to the program tomorrow. In fact, I think he was getting back on the Big Bird from Chicago. O'Hare might even be back by now. All of it podcastable. I apologize to you. I asked you for a soundbite you had a devilish time getting from LaMelo Ball's dad. But save it. Make sure Guardsy knows where to look at it, because we will be playing it on tomorrow's broadcast, because it does offer some interesting observations from the father of the Balls. So that's coming up. That'll come up tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday, so it'll be Dr. Dan's Inbox Day. And indeed, Chris Maddle is a scheduled in-studio guest at the top of the show, the 3 o'clock hour. And that was scheduled before he ends up making significant news, starting a basically new news cycle involving serious accusations against the mayor of the city of St. Paul. And so we'll get to that story with him, how far he'll be willing to take it. Have absolutely no idea at this point. But we'll cover a number of other legal issues and get caught up, even perhaps politically, with Chris Maddle, who, of course, once upon a time was in the race as a Republican and then decided to just sort of bow out of the whole deal, thereby enraging some Republicans who said he's not a true Republican based on what he did. Some Twins conversation today. A lot of Vikings talk early in the show, in addition to Seifert's appearance. All podcastable and downloadable. A Fan and a Man in the Air will follow us tonight, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, but then Guardsy's coach bit at 7.
That's right, with, I think, Mike Grimm. I think it's the two of them and the Gophers head coach.